lightning cleaved the pitch-black sky above St. Peter's, illuminating the Vatican's ancient stones in a pale, trembling glare. Beneath that fractured light, a solitary archivist, her breath visible in the clammy air, pressed trembling fingers to a parchment that had somehow evaded every cataloging effort. Its edges still crisp, its ink unnaturally vibrant. They said only the angels know what comes next. But here, in your hands, lies the key. In that moment, time itself seemed to hesitate. Was this the same prophecy whispered in hushed corridors since 1590? Or an entirely new revelation, freshly conjured by forces beyond comprehension? As thunder rolled across the Tiber, the archivist's heart pounded not from fear alone, but from the weight of history pivoting on a single, trembling word. Our modern world, once confident in its telescopes and data models, now finds itself staring down an age-old enigma. Can a list of 112 mottos, penned by a 12th century Irish bishop, still guide us through today's crises, with the Vatican's secret archives finally digitized in early 2025? Scholars have begun cross-referencing Malachy's cryptic couplets against the life of the current pontiff. Pope Francis, whose recent initiatives on climate action and interfaith dialogue bear an uncanny echo of the prophesied language. Meanwhile, conspiracy theorists dissect every syllable online. While theologians caution against reading heaven's script to literally, yet in that vaulted chamber, illuminated by the archivist's lantern, analysis and awe collided. Each symbol on the parchment called for interpretation. Each smudge dared speculation. As the storm outside raged on, the scene crescendoed toward a question that refuses to fade. When the final line is revealed, will it herald salvation, schism, or something altogether unimaginable? The mystery isn't merely in what the angels know, but in what we, standing on the threshold of tomorrow, dare to believe. A veil of mist clings to the cold stones of Galway Cathedral as night falls, and through that haze emerges the storied figure of Saint Malachy, 12th century Irish bishop, whose name dances on the edge of myth and miracle. Legend holds that during a sacred vision, he was granted a fleeting glimpse into the corridors of heaven, where angels whispered the fates of 112 future pontiffs. In the flicker of candlelight, he scrawled a secret list of cryptic Latin mottos, each a riddle cloaked in poetic symbolism. A Lupus Angeli for one pope, a Via Perenne for another, as if painting with words the grand tapestry of the Church's destiny. Yet the parchment itself vanished for centuries, resurfacing only in fragmented whispers, locked away by wary monks, stolen by power-hungry cardinals, or perhaps spirited off to hide in some dusty corner of the Vatican archives. Today, with the Holy See's archives embracing digital transformation in early 2025, historians and theologians pore over high-resolution scans, pitting ink patterns and parchment fibers against forensic timelines. Some scholars raise an eyebrow, branding the prophecy a medieval forgery, elaborate ecclesiastical prank concocted in the 16th century to sway conclaves or curry favor. Others bow their heads in reverent silence, convinced that no ordinary hand could conjure such precise foresight, especially when mottos penned centuries ago eerily echo the lives and ministries of modern popes. Online forums hum with fervent debate. Data analysts chart the coincidences, theologians dissect the symbolism, and skeptics deride the exercise as an exercise in retrofitting history. Between these poles of doubt and devotion, the story unfurls like an ancient, scrolled revelation, more electrifying than the last. As we stand in 2025, armed with carbon dating, spectral imaging, and round-the-clock live streams from St. Peter's Square, the question looms larger than ever. Is this the handiwork of heavenly messengers, or simply the most ingenious hoax in papal lore? The answer, hidden in those enigmatic one-line prophecies, awaits its next reader. A hush fell over the Sistine Chapel as the white smoke curled into the night sky, signaling the election of a new pontiff, and with it, the first unseen pope on St. Malachy's secret scroll on that ancient parchment. The cryptic motto, Lupus Angeli, Wolf of the Angels, had lain dormant for centuries, its meaning obscured by time and translation. Yet on that fateful day in 1590, when Cardinal Giovanni Battista Castagna emerged to take the name Urban VII, historians now marvel at how his austere reforms, ferocious advocacy for the poor, and solitary nocturnal vigils echoed the wolf's lone midnight prowling, uncanny fulfillment no scribe could have predicted. Modern analysis, empowered by the Vatican's 2025 digitization project, has tracked the original ink's chemical signature and parchment weave to a single workshop in medieval Cork, reinforcing the authenticity of Malachy's hand. Forensic experts point out that Lupus Angeli was not a common phrase in ecclesiastical circles, making the parallel all the more chilling. Imagine the conclave's candlelight flickering against frescoed walls as cardinals, robed in scarlet and ermine, cast their votice Ave, a beat in the heart of destiny. When the count fell to Castagna, a silent gasp swept through the chamber. Was this merely a triumph of coincidence, or a moment when prophecy itself breached the veil between heaven and earth? News outlets in Rome and Dublin have since catalogued every line of that first motto against newly uncovered diaries and Vatican correspondence. Seeking clues to whether Malachy's vision was inspired or implanted, as we edge further into 2025, the debate intensifies online, where data scientists feed algorithmic pattern matching its most cryptic riddles. Yet, in that electrifying moment beneath the chapel's vaulted ceiling, analysis and awe collided, leaving us to wonder. When de labor soles, the next motto comes to pass, will we recognize the wolf's howl for what it truly is? A shadow fell over the Reformation's upheaval as St. Malachy's parchment simply vanished, swallowed by the chaos of shattered altars. And burning books' whispered legend insists that a clandestine Jesuit brotherhood spirited the scrolls away into hidden cellars beneath Rome today, with the Vatican's archives undergoing a sweeping digital renaissance in early 2025. Forensic archivists have identified tantalizing metadata tags hinting at those same lost fragments tucked away in Prague's Strav Library and the marshaled vaults of Dublin's Trinity College. Yet the trail remains maddeningly incomplete. Enter Dr. Elise Moreau, a maverick medievalist whose reputation for chasing ecclesiastical enigmas leads her through corridors of crumbling vellum and under the watchful gaze of Renaissance portraits. Each dusty folio she unearths seems to pulsate with the echo of angelic whispers, every Latin phrase a breadcrumb on a path that could rewrite church history. But her pursuit is fraught with shadowy silhouettes slipped between the stacks at closing time. Tales of coiled henchmen dispatched by a secretive cabal, equally desperate to conceal or exploit Malachy's vision. In a Prague reading room last winter, Moreau barely escaped a harrowing encounter when a heavy tome crashed to the marble floor mere inches from her head, sending ink-stained pages spiraling their cryptic mottos bleeding into the carved stone beneath. Objective analysis of the recovered fragments reveals an unexpected consistency in ink. Composition spectral imaging shows a rare iron gall formula that, according to a 2025 report in Vatican Studies Quarterly, matches samples from a Jesuit scriptorium known to operate covertly in the late 16th century. Yet the motives of those shadowy pursuers remain inscrutable. Do they believe the list is divine revelation or merely a weapon to be wielded in modern conclaves? Online forums buzz with theories, while theologians caution that cherry-picking prophecies risks self-fulfilling disaster. Echoing Pope Francis's 2024 admonition against seeking certainty in ambiguous signs, as Moreau's journey hurtles toward its climax. Every fragment she deciphers seems to amplify the stakes. The next line could expose a future pope. Fate or trigger the very schism the prophecy was meant to avert. With storm clouds gathering over St. Peter's Basilica and live webcams capturing the tense calm, her quest collides with the weight of history and the lightning charge of present-day intrigue. In the electric hush before dawn, analysis and adventure entwine, and we're left to wonder, will the lost scrolls emerge whole or remain the most haunting secret of all? A tremor of anticipation rippled through St. Peter's Square as the white smoke dispersed in early 2025. Marking the rise of the 111th Pope and, with it, the uncanny fulfillment of his prophetic motto, Flamma Vitæ. At that moment, the world was already grappling with cascading crises, a late winter resurgence of the Epsilon influenza variant, a record-breaking heatwave scorching southern Europe, and geopolitical flashpoints threatening to ignite fresh conflict. Yet beneath the vaulted arches of the Sistine Chapel, cardinals spoke in hushed tones of miracles healing touchstones in field hospitals. Unexpected calms in war-torn regions echoing the fiery promise of Malachy's words. Objective analysis, fueled by real-time data feeds and live satellite imagery, confirms a startling synchronicity. Regions under special PayPal attention have seen measurable drops in infection rates and localized ceasefires, prompting statisticians to ask if this is wholly intervention or statistical coincidence. Meanwhile, social media platforms have become battlegrounds of belief and doubt. Hashtags like #Flamma Vitæ and #ProphecyHoax trend in tandem, as influencers dissect every PayPal homily for hidden references to flame, life, or rebirth. News outlets from the tablet to Reuters have run features questioning whether a 12th century riddle can steer the modern church or merely reflect our human craving for meaning in chaos. In a dramatic climax worthy of medieval legend, the Pope's inaugural encyclical, released April 2025, calls for a global flame of compassion, uniting governments and faith leaders in unprecedented climate and public health pacts, a call to action that mirrors Malachy's ancient script with eerie precision. As the world watches live streams of candlelit vigils across 5 continents, the line between prophecy and performance blurs. Are we witnessing the fulfillment of a heavenly vision, or the most masterful alignment of PR and circumstance ever orchestrated? In the glow of that flame of life, analysis and awe merge, leaving each of us to decide whether the final verdict rests with statistics or with faith. A hush deeper than any thunderclap fell over St. Peter's Square as the Vatican's livestream cameras captured the moment the last cryptic line of St. Malachy's prophecy was laid. There, the Spina Quies from the thornrest. In the golden haze of candlelight and digital feeds, that phrase shimmered with an ominous ambiguity. Did it foretell a suffering that would fracture the church before granting salvation, or a peaceful epilogue to centuries of conflict? Dr. Elise Moreau, the intrepid historian who had unearthed every surviving fragment, now stood at a crossroads worthy of ancient drama. To publish the full text, potentially igniting global panic, political upheaval, and doctrinal schisms, or to entomb it once more in the obscurity from which it had so tantalizingly emerged. Behind her, the basilica's frescoed arches seemed to lean in, as if the ghosts of Renaissance patrons themselves weighed in on her choice. Objective voices now punctuate the airwaves. Ethicists debate whether any one scholar should wield the power to unveil her, withhold history as darkest prophecy. Data scientists question whether the Spina Quies might retrospectively explain the 2023 PayPal health crisis and the series of diplomatic breakthroughs that followed. Theologians argue that faith cannot hinge on a single line of text, no matter how divinely inspired. Meanwhile, social media is ablaze. #thorn or rest hashtags jockey with #censor. The scroll in trending feeds across TikTok and X as influencers and clerics alike parse every syllable for hidden meaning. In Moreau's trembling hands, the digital transcript glows like a reliquary, each letter a throb of destiny. Hundreds of thousands watch her decision in real-time votes and comments cascading across screens, while news outlets from Vatican Observatory, weekly, to global faith news broadcast live analyses cautioning that history's pendulum may swing too swiftly if the prophecy is unleashed. Even Pope Francis's 2025 Advent address, broadcast mere hours earlier, seemed charged with premonition, urging unity in uncertainty, imploring the faithful to seek hope beyond prophecy. As the smoke from the conclave's final incense drifted skyward, the world paused to breathe. Would the final motto be a key to renewal or a blade veiled in ambiguity? In that suspended moment between revelation and restraint, analysis and narrative converged into pure suspense, leaving us to wonder whether truth is a gift best shared or a secret too powerful to survive in the light. A tremor of possibility courses through the final throes of our tale as the last embers of prophecy spark questions that refuse to smolder quietly. Will St. Malachy's enigmatic mottos unleash a dawn of salvation or cleave the faithful into irreparable schism, or propel us into something altogether uncharted? In the hushed aftermath of Dr. Moreau's monumental decision, her finger hovering over the publish key as millions watched live via the Vatican's newly launched digital portal hour, heroine stands transformed. No longer the skeptical scholar who once measured medieval ink solely by its chemical signature. She now carries the weight of centuries in her soul, her worldview stretched across the gulf between faith and reason. Objective observers note that, in the weeks since the prophecy's partial release, Climate accords brokered under Flamma Vitæ have accelerated global cooperation, while fringe sects claiming to decode de Spina Quies have splintered into contentious factions. Data from the Pontifical Social Research Institute confirms a 12% uptick in both interfaith summits and doomsday forums since April 2025. Yet beyond the graphs and hashtags, it is Moreau's own journey that resonates. Her trembling doubt gave way to awe when she witnessed a local community in Naples revive ancient relief efforts after a casual reading of Malachy's words, and her newfound faith in humanity's capacity for renewal stokes an ember of hope in the viewer's heart. As social media polls swing between conviction and cynicism, salvationism trailing closely behind prophesying bound, we are left to ask what becomes of a secret once set free. In that charged moment, analysis and emotion fuse into a final crescendo, reminding us that every prophecy, no matter how cryptic, only holds power when it meets the human spirit daring enough to believe. A spectral hush drapes over the Vatican's ancient stones as a final voice carries through the candlelit hall, reminding us that some secrets are bestowed to guide our steps, while others exist only to warn us of paths we dare not tread. In the glow of flickering screens and vaulted frescoes, we see how history, ever restless, may yet inscribe its own ending, one shaped as much by our choices today as by the prophecies of a vision centuries old. Analysts note that since the partial release of St. Malachy's mottos on the Vatican's 2025 digital portal, online engagement has surged by 40%, reflecting a collective hunger for meaning amidst modern crises, be it climate upheaval, public health emergencies, or the shifting tides of global politics. Yet beyond algorithms and trending hashtags lies the true mystery. Will you dare read the last line? As millions around the world pause their lives to contemplate for simple Latin words, de Spina Quies, we stand at the threshold between knowing and believing. The decision to uncover or conceal that final motto has ripple effects far beyond the conclave's white smoke. Faith communities in Nairobi reinterpret it as a call to restorative peace, while underground forums in Sao Paulo debate whether it portends a new era or a final reckoning. In this charged moment, objective commentary and breathless storytelling intertwine, reminding us that prophecy is not a fixed fate, but a mirror reflecting our deepest hopes and fears. And so, you are invited not merely to watch, but to participate in the unfolding narrative. The echoes of Malachy's vision linger in every whispered debate and every silent prayer. In the end, the last line is only as powerful as the courage of the reader who unravels its mystery. Will you answer its call?